Welcome back for another deep dive with us. Today, we're going to be stepping into the world of a generation that's already starting to make its mark. We're talking about Generation Beta, those born from 2025 onward. We found this really fascinating article by an AI expert named, its source author's name from Forbes. And honestly, reading this, it feels a bit like peeking into a sci-fi novel. This generation, they're growing up with AI not as some futuristic concept, but it's as commonplace as smartphones are to us.
It really is amazing to think about how much technology shapes a generation. For Gen Beta, AI will be the defining force in their lives. It's kind of like how the internet reshaped the way we live and think.
Totally. The article uses this term AI naturals to describe them. And I think that perfectly captures how different their experience will be from ours. For them, asking an AI for help with their homework or for directions, that won't be a novelty. It'll just be normal.
Exactly. And that normal that they experience will encompass a level of AI integration that I think we can barely even fathom right now. Think about all the established generational labels that we have.
Mm.
You've got the silent generation, the baby boomers, Gen X, millennials, Gen Z, and now even Gen Alpha. Each of these eras has its own unique characteristics that were shaped by the technologies and cultural shifts of their time. But I think Gen Beta is really on another level.
Yeah, it's true. And when we start thinking about the impact that AI is going to have on their upbringing, one of the most obvious areas where we'll see this is in education. The article suggests that AI tutors could become just as common as textbooks, offering personalized learning paths for each student. And this could potentially accelerate how quickly kids can learn new concepts.
It's a fascinating possibility, isn't it? But it also brings up some pretty big questions about the role of human teachers. I mean,
Yeah.
could they become more like coaches, right? Guiding students through this AI-powered learning experience?
Well,
Or will there always be a need for that human connection in education, no matter how advanced AI becomes?
that's such a good point. The article even mentions this debate that's brewing about whether human teachers are even necessary in a world with such sophisticated AI. What do you think about that? Could we really replace teachers entirely?
Well, it's a really complex issue with no easy answers. On the one hand, AI has the potential to personalize education to a degree that humans just can't. Imagine each student having an AI tutor that adapts to their individual learning style, their pace, and even their interests. I mean, that could really unlock incredible potential for a lot of kids.
I can definitely see that. But at the same time, there's something to be said for the human element of learning. Teachers do so much more than just deliver information. They inspire, they mentor, they provide emotional support. Can AI really replicate those things?
You're right. Those aspects are crucial for a well-funded education. Maybe a balance is possible, where AI handles the more technical aspects of teaching. And this would free up human educators to really focus on nurturing those essential human skills, like critical thinking, creativity, and emotional intelligence.
I really like that idea. Sort of partnership between AI and human educators. And thinking about Gen Beta's upbringing, it's not just school that's going to be impacted by AI. Imagine home life with all these AI-powered devices everywhere you look, from smart assistants to personalized healthcare.
Their article even talks about AI being used for mental health advice, which is fascinating, but also a little bit concerning. I mean, while having access to mental health support is really important, I wonder about the implications of a generation growing up relying on AI for such sensitive guidance.
Yeah, I know it's a little unsettling to think about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially with the possibility of, misuse or misinformation. I think this is where we really need to be careful about striking a balance between using AI to its full potential, but also ensuring that there's human oversight, especially when it comes to things like mental health.
I agree completely. Just like with education, I think we need to find ways to thoughtfully incorporate AI into our lives, ensuring that it enhances human interaction, not replaces it completely.
Right. I mean, we're already starting to see these dynamics play out with things like AI-powered devices, and it's only going to become more prevalent for this generation. So while AI is shaping their childhoods in such profound ways right now, the article takes it even a step further, and it explores a future with AGI, artificial general intelligence.
And this is where things could get really revolutionary. AGI is essentially AI with capabilities equal to human intelligence in all aspects. Imagine AI that can learn, reason, problem solve, and even be creative at the same level as us humans. It's pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah, it really is hard to wrap your head around. An AI that can do everything we can do, and maybe even better.
It definitely stretches the imagination. And experts have different opinions on when AGI might actually happen. But this article suggests that it could very well happen within Gen Beta's lifetime. That's a pretty mind-blowing thought, considering how much AI is already affecting their lives. Absolutely. The article really highlights how AGI could have like a seismic impact on education. I mean, just imagine a world where AGI replaces human teachers entirely. On the one hand, you could have this unprecedented level of personalized learning. Every student learning at their own pace, they'd have access to this vast pool of knowledge through their AGI tutor. But on the other hand, what happens to the social and emotional aspects of learning? Those things are really crucial for development.
It makes you wonder if this generation might end up being incredibly advanced intellectually, but maybe lacking some of those interpersonal skills that we learn through human interactions, through collaboration. It's like we're on the verge of this massive social experiment, and Gen Beta is right at the center of it.
Yeah, and it's not just education that could be revolutionized. Think about the economic implications of AGI. The article talks about how AGI could potentially automate a lot of different types of jobs, which could lead to widespread unemployment. It's a double-edged sword, isn't it? On the one hand, AGI could free us from these mundane tasks, and it could create opportunities for innovation, but it also poses a serious challenge to our current economic systems.
Yeah, we'd have to totally rethink how we approach work and income. The article mentions potential solutions like shorter work weeks or a universal basic income. But honestly, it feels like we're just barely scratching the surface of what a world with AGI would really look like.
It's definitely uncharted territory. And then the article goes even further by bringing up the concept of ASI, artificial superintelligence. This is AI that surpasses human intelligence in every way imaginable.
Okay, now we're really getting into science fiction.
Yeah.
But the article presents it as a real possibility, although a more distant one than AGI. So help me out here. What would a world with ASI even look like?
Well, it's almost impossible to say for sure, but the potential benefits are pretty amazing. The article says that ASI could solve some of the biggest problems facing humanity, like climate change, poverty, incurable diseases. Imagine Gen Beta living in a world where they live longer, healthier lives. And they have access to pretty much unlimited resources and technologies that we can barely even imagine today.
It sounds like a utopia. But the article also warns about the risks. If ASI were to become uncontrollable, the consequences could be catastrophic. We're talking about an intelligence that could outthink and outmaneuver us in every way. It could lead to situations where humans are at its mercy.
It's a pretty sobering thought. The article definitely doesn't try to downplay the dangers. It highlights how important it is to think carefully and ethically about how we develop this advanced AI. It's not just about creating something super intelligent, it's about making sure that it aligns with human values and goals.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
But who gets to decide what those values and goals are? And how do we even begin to control something that's potentially smarter than all of us?
Those are the questions that we need to be asking right now. The article says that Gen Beta will inherit this complex landscape, a world that's been shaped by the advancements and potential risks of AI. And they could either become victims of this technological revolution, or they could become the generation that leads humanity towards a more positive future with AI.
Wow, that's a lot of responsibility for one generation. If you think about all the generations that came before Gen Beta, from the silent generation all the way to Gen Alpha, each generation had its own challenges and opportunities. But it feels like Gen Beta is facing something totally different, something that could change what it even means to be human.
I think you're right. And their story, which is just beginning, is really tied to our own. The choices that we make today about how AI is developed, the ethics and the regulations, all of those things will have a huge impact on their lives and on the future of humanity as a whole.
It's both exciting and terrifying, isn't it? This potential for both incredible progress and complete disaster. This article doesn't give us easy answers. But it definitely makes one thing clear. We can't just sit back and watch this happen.
You're absolutely right. We have to get involved in these conversations. We have to learn about AI and what it means for us. And we need to advocate for responsible development.
And maybe if we do those things, we can help Gen Beta become the generation that not only survives the AI revolution, but thrives in it.
That's a really hopeful thought. And I think it's something that we should all be working towards. We have this incredible opportunity to create a future where AI benefits everyone. And it all starts with understanding and guiding its development.
Well, we've covered a lot in this deep dive. AI tutors, AI in the home, even those mind-boggling possibilities of AGI and ASI. As we start to wrap things up, I'm curious what really stood out to you from the article? What left you thinking, wow, I need to ponder that some more?
I think for me, it was just the sheer scale of the unknown. When we talk about Gen Beta's future, it's not like they're just adapting to a new gadget, like we did with smartphones or something. They're facing a world where work relationships is even what it means to be human. All of that could be completely reshaped by AI. It's almost like we're trying to prepare a kid for a journey to a planet we've never even seen.
Yeah, that's a really powerful analogy. And it makes me think that this isn't just about preparing Gen Beta, it's about all of us, adapting our thinking, our systems, maybe even our ethics. For a future where AI is a major part of life, I mean, the article doesn't give us a roadmap, but it asks a really important question, one that I think is worth thinking about.
You're talking about the question of whether Gen Beta will master AI or
Yeah.
be mastered by it, right? I think that's really the core of everything we've talked about. We have so much power, the power to shape AI, but we also have this responsibility to make sure it doesn't shape us in ways that we don't want.
Exactly. And thinking about everything we've discussed, it seems like education is key, not just teaching Gen Beta technical skills,
Hmm.
but also encouraging critical thinking, ethical decision-making,
Hmm.
giving them the ability to question and discern, especially in a world where information and misinformation will be everywhere thanks to AI.
Absolutely. It's about empowering Gen Beta to be more than just consumers of AI. They
Mhm.
need to be the creators, the innovators, the ones who are asking, how can we use AI for good? What safeguards do we need to put in place? It's a tall order, but I think they're up to the challenge, especially if we give them the right tools and mindset.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's try not to just think of this as some abstract conversation about the future. Let's bring it home. What possibilities or concerns do you have about how AI might impact your own life, your work, your relationships? Gen Beta's story is already connected to ours, and the choices we make today will have a ripple effect for generations to come.